Hey there. I made it. I'm here. I'm glad you're there too. I'll wait while you come into the waiting room. Saw that some of you were waiting there for me. A few minutes late, but you're used to that. I am so excited about today's program. Really excited if you got my email ahead of time, explaining that about plasmalogens. I'm really excited to delve in with you on that. I will do my intro quickly here. Rebecca Montrone, Wondrous Roots, your health from the ground up. I am a holistic healthcare practitioner with a degree in holistic nutrition. I'm also a full-fledged herbalist. By saying full-fledged, I mean I have a full formulary and a lot of people are herbalists and they make herbal things at home kind of thing, but I've got like over 200 single herbs and over 150 herbal formulas. Just came out with a new one for somebody who asked me about it for periodontal disease this week. And I came up with a whole new formula that's like a swish. You can swish with it, and then you can also take it internally, like you would swish and spit, but then you can also take it internally to fight this particular bacteria that's very not good. That's really nasty. And so I'll have to tell you about that one. That one is now called periodontal formula, actually. So if you look for it online, you can find it and it explains all about it. But anyway, so I make a bunch of different herbal formulas in the art of herbal medicine. We actually have a full skincare line that's based on the same kind of thing. So we make some topical things and some things you take inside for all different problems, health reasons. If you want to check it out and you're not familiar, go to shopwondrousroots.com. You can also go to wondrousroots.org, which is my website, which is dedicated more to teaching and learning and all of that kind of thing. So shopwondrousroots.com, wondrousroots.org, and then our number here is 603-439-2603. I am also available by phone, of course, during the week, 9:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, 603-439-2603. And I think that's all I want to say about that. Now, I work with people with all kinds of health concerns, issues, people of all ages. So again, one-on-one, either in person here at 103 Roxbury Street in Keene, New Hampshire, or this way in teleconference via Zoom or phone, if Zoom for some reason is not doesn't work out for you, but usually it does. And then what else do I want to say? Yes, we have a full shop here. So the things that you see online, shopwondrousroots.com, supplements, and then the things we make. Okay, I think that's it. And if you're with me and you've been with me for any amount of time, you've heard me say that more times than you want to hear me say it. So, okay. All right, so plasmalogens, I'm going to dig right in after I just go over how to tune in. How to participate. You can hit click on Q&A and type in there, and I should see it if I pay attention. You can raise your hand and speak, or you can actually type into the chat. So click the chat and type in that way. So I think that just about covers it. Previous programs you can pick up on YouTube and Rumble. You can also go to wondrousroots.org and go to the different and learn. You can look at different topics, and a lot of times my videos are tucked in there. I usually send out information after I do one showing where you can find it on the website too. So anyway, last week I did shungite. That was really a popular one, the shungite stone, the really cool stone from Karelia, Russia, Karelia province. And that was really awesomely interesting, I think. So if you go to, I think I have that on the lifestyle page with different things that there, you can pick that up there. And you can also find it on YouTube or Rumble. All right, enough of the intro. Plasmalogens. Seriously, okay, so how did I find out about plasmalogens? This is a relative, not in my immediate family, but a relative pretty close to the immediate family, who was having some health crisis a little while back in April. and cardiovascular and cognitive issues. And his doctor in Florida, who's actually a functional medicine minded doc, had mentioned plasmalogens and that they would be like a great fit for him. So I was like so intrigued about that. I was right in the middle of doing the Stop Eating Crap series. So kind of held off on that. And then I was like, gonna do it. And finally I did. So last Sunday, I started looking into plasmalogens and I was like blown away. Similar, like I said in my newsletter, to something as impactful to me as glutathione, as methylene blue, as indium, as palmitoyl-ethanolamide. Actually, palmitoyl-ethanolamide and plasmalogens are sort of intimately related because they're both lipid mediators. But I'll get into that. Anyway, what are they? What do they do? How do they work? How do they help us? And who might they be most helpful for? I would say everyone, but especially in people with certain health conditions, we would say, wow, this could be a real game changer potentially for you. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen. And let's see, I'm going to go there. Don't know that that actually shared. I don't think it did. So let me see, share. Okay, there we go. Yeah. I can see that that is shared. Make sure it's covering the whole slide. That looks pretty good. And then make sure I get my chat where I can see if anybody's typing in there. And then my participants, so I can keep an eye on you guys. All right. And again, it is July 26th, just for the record, in case you're wondering if this is the current video as you're watching it. Okay. I think that does it. So plasmalogens, the unsung heroes of health and longevity. What are they? Plasma, right? So you immediately think blood, at least I did. So let's start there. Plasmalogens are a special class of phospholipids, which are key building blocks of cell membranes. What sets plasmalogens apart is a unique vinyl ether bond at the first position. This is going to not mean much to you and didn't mean a lot to me, but position of the glycerol backbone, which makes them especially prone to oxidation. And we would think that would be like a bad thing, but it turns out to be part of their function and not a flaw. So we'll get a little bit more into that shortly. They're found in abundance in the brain, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, and the immune cells, where membranes need both stability and flexibility, and where oxidative stress is a constant threat. So what is oxidative stress? I'm always talking about that. We talked about that last time when we talked about shungites, and they're the fullerenes and their antioxidant properties and all of that. So hang on to that thought. Because I think of plasmalogens as kind of hard to wrap my head around as I'm talking about them and going through, I came up with a few metaphors to help maybe kind of help us wrap our heads around them a little bit better. So you can think of them as the cells of our bodies, the unsung Swiss Army knife. So plasmalogens are like the Swiss Army knife of your cell membranes. They're compact, they're versatile, they're ready for anything that comes up. So you can see that, like, if we start to lose our plasmalogen load, if you will, things can go awry. And conversely, if we can reload our plasmalogen load, how many things that we might be able to improve in our health. And that's why this is like super exciting to me. It's another tool in my toolkit. And as you can see, it's a very versatile tool. Think of them as shock absorbers of the cell. So plasmalogens being like, like shock absorbers on a car. You don't think about them when they're working, right? It's just something that's purring along in the background. It's well, of course, shock absorbers don't purr, but you know what I'm saying? You're doing their thing in the background. You're not conscious of them. They cushion every bump your cells take from oxidative stress, inflammation, daily wear and tear. When they break down or run low, the ride gets rougher mentally, physically, and metabolically. And just think about just aging, and we're going to get into that, just the aging process. What happens? We lose our hormones, we lose our mitochondrial energy, everything starts to decline, and so we start to decline. We start to get old, and we become progressively older. One of the things that's going missing is our plasmalogens. So I can't believe I didn't know anything about these. It's so thrilling. You can think of plasmalogens as the cellular fire marshals. So plasmalogens are like fire marshals stationed inside your cell. They're the cells of your body. Their unique chemical structure means they sacrifice themselves first when oxidative flames break out, protecting the more vulnerable cell structures, especially in high-risk areas like the brain and the heart. But just think about that. As they're sacrificing themselves, they're under, okay, so you're getting a lot of oxidative stress. The plasmalogens are coming in, they're sacrificing themselves, but guess what? When they sacrifice themselves, there's fewer of them, right? So that's something to think about too, why we want to be able to replenish them. And I do see that Dr. Kathy is with us. And Dr. Kathy, I mentioned you because, as you know, as those of you who've been with me for a long time, for a while now, Dr. Kathy had a stroke several months back. And I want to say October, but anyway, this is, I think that these plasmalogens will be a fantastic thing to add to your therapy, Dr. Kathy. And we're going to get into that towards the end of the program. So hang tight. Okay. Mitochondria. I always call myself the mitochondriac, right? The mitochondrial insulation. So think of mitochondria as the power plants and plasmalogens as high-grade insulation that keeps them running efficiently, protects them, protects your mitochondria from damage. Without that insulation, the energy leaks, systems overheat, the grid starts to fail, so you end up with fatigue, brain fog, chronic disease. The mitochondria energy, keeping that nice and high, clipping along is super important. So what do? Is we, as we hit age 30 and our mitochondrial energy starts to decline, we add things in that protect the mitochondria, such as coenzyme Q10, lipoic acid, NAD, PQQ, L-carnitine, and different forms of those kinds of things. We use glutathione to keep the mitochondria protected. So mitochondrial energy protection, mitochondrial health is key to anti-aging and key to being healthy. You can also think of the plasmalogens as a conductor in the cellular symphony, if you want to look at it that way. While not the loudest player in the orchestra, plasmalogens are like the conductor, ensuring timing, communication, harmony across the entire cell. So when they falter, everything from memory to metabolism can start playing out of tune. It makes all the sense in the world. Okay, functions of plasmalogens, think of them as multifunctional bodyguards. Number one, as an antioxidant shield. So an antioxidant shield, that vulnerable vinyl ether bond, okay, it sacrifices itself to protect other lipids from oxidation. I was talking about that before, like cellular martyrs, when we were talking about the fire chief coming in there and sacrificing, the firefighters are going to sacrifice themselves before they allow you to get hurt. And so that's one of the things that it does for our cells. So it's a protector in that way. Mitochondria, particularly important in neurons and mitochondria where oxidative stress is very high. Neurons, brain cells, right? Mitochondria of the brain, but mitochondria are involved in all of our cells everywhere. Membrane structure and function. They maintain membrane fluidity, are involved in lipid raft formation, which affects signal transduction. So just think, for one of your cells to fire a message to another, which needs to happen, think especially about the brain, right? You need to have that going all the time. You have to have that firing and that transportation. And so very important in your your synaptic transmission of neurotransmitters and all kinds of things. So it is the communicator from one thing. Okay, synaptic transmission, myelination, and neuroplasticity, and we'll delve into those a little bit. So a dictionary dive here. What is synaptic transmission? The process by which nerve cells communicate by sending chemical or electrical signals across a synapse. So you've got two neurons, right? And the synapse is the road in between. Boom, 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 fire, fire, fire from one to the next and to the next and to the next and to the next. Myelination. Think of myelination. What do we think of? What illness comes to mind? Multiple sclerosis. Plasmalogens are a huge tool based on that for multiple sclerosis. And I'll delve into that just briefly a little bit further into the program. So myelination, the formation of protective fatty coating, the myelin sheath, right, that around the nerve fibers that speeds up signal transmission. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and adapt by forming new neural connections throughout life. And we used to think the brain wasn't plastic, that it couldn't make new neural connections. And now we know that that's not true. And that's really wonderful. When it comes to degenerative disease processes, one thing I didn't have a time to get into here is Parkinson's disease. I'm sure this is huge for Parkinson's as well. And I will be adding into that in that regard later on, because I think it's huge. So for any of those neurodegenerative things, huge, huge, huge. This is another really wonderful tool. So mitochondrial function, again, plasmalogens support electron transport, stabilize mitochondrial membranes, and may enhance ATP production. So actually making more mitochondrial energy. The electron transport chain is the final step in your cell's energy production process. Stick with me here. Located in the mitochondria, it takes electrons from nutrients and uses them to create a flow of protons, which powers the production of adenosine triphosphate, ATP, the main energy currency of the body. It's like a microscopic power plant, and healthy mitochondrial membranes rich in plasmalogens are essential to keep this system running smoothly. This is where things like omega-3 fatty acids come in, but we're going to see a little bit further down the line here how plasmalogen supplementation is far superior to simple omega-3 from fish liver oil, for instance. Pretty exciting, right? This is like so cool. So cool. Immune modulation, found in high concentrations in white blood cells, especially macrophages, which modulate inflammation and may influence phagocytosis and cytokine signaling. So now we're talking immune system. We're not only talking about the body's ability to fend off viruses and bacteria, things that are going around, but we're also talking about cancer. Phagocytosis involved with the macrophages, macrophytosis, going in and gobbling up cells that shouldn't be there, like cancer cells. So again, what are macrophages? Specialized immune cells that act as the body's cleanup crew. They engulf and digest pathogens, dead cells, and debris, and help coordinate the immune response. So think of it even as being helpful in autoimmune system regulation, because if you go back here, cytokine signaling. Cytokines are inflammatory entities, right? Interleukin-6, NF-kappa beta, that kind of thing. We want to be able to bring down cytokine signaling. Now, let's talk, or we want to bring down overactive cytokine activity. So let's kind of like compare this to palmitoyl ethanolamide, right? PEA, which you guys know I'm all excited about. And I have I'm using it. I know a lot of you are, but we talked about it with regard to inflammation and pain and neuropathies and things like that. It is an olamine, and so are plasmalogens. Plasmalogens are actually phosphorylamines. I get into that a little bit later on, but But they are lipid mediators that we make ourselves in our body, but we need more of them. And the good thing is that we can supplement and get more of them. Okay. Hormone sensitivity. So working influences how cells respond to insulin, thyroid hormones, sex steroids, a potential link to metabolic and endocrine health. So now we're lapping over into things like metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, that kind of thing. So a little bit more of a description here, plasmalogens and hormones. Plasmalogens play a subtle but important role in the endocrine system by supporting the structure and function of hormone-sensitive cells. They help maintain the integrity and fluidity of cell membranes, which is crucial for proper hormone signaling, especially for receptors that respond to thyroid hormones, insulin, and sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone, progesterone. By supporting membrane health and reducing oxidative stress, plasmalogens help ensure that hormonal messages are received clearly and effectively, contributing to overall endocrine balance. So again, you know, like glutathione, like things like palmitoyl-ethanolamide, but you know, just talking about something that is so root level. That's why I love it. Plasmalogens are a very root-centered therapy. They're very central in the roots that contribute to overall health and longevity. So what happens when plasmalogen levels decline? They naturally decline with age, and low levels have been linked to neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS, cardiovascular disease, immune dysregulation, mitochondrial dysfunction, autism spectrum disorders. This, I think, would be a brilliant, brilliant supplement for children with autism, on the spectrum, ADD, ADHD, all of that. Macular degeneration, metabolic syndrome, and diabetes. Why are we just hearing about them now? So when my relative told me about this and said that his doctor had recommended this, said he's all about this Dr. Goodnow. I don't know how you pronounce his name, actually. He's all about that. The doctor was following him and watching a lot of his videos and stuff like that. So this is Dr. Goodnow, who is the one who sort of brought this all to light. His theory is a loss of plasmalogens is a cause of disease, not just a consequence of aging, right? Not just a consequence of disease, not just a consequence of, well, I guess he didn't say of aging. He said of disease. Restoring them may reverse decline, because I would say the decline is actually a result of aging, right? So but when we see the plasmalogen dissolution, that's related to, say, Alzheimer's disease. It's the plasmalogen dissolution that's behind the Alzheimer's disease happening in the first place, not just a consequence of you have Alzheimer's disease, so your plasmalogens are up, right? That makes sense. So you can go to this book right here on Amazon. It's kind of cool. It says, Breaking Alzheimer's is Dr. Diane Goodnow's story of personal and scientific perseverance. The biochemical mechanisms of neurological disease is his area of expertise, and was his area of expertise for 15 years before he serendipitously discovered that low plasmalogen levels were causing Alzheimer's. Dr. Goodnow had never heard of plasmalogens, and he had never been taught about them. There are now 15 years of supportive validation of this discovery, and access to plasmalogen testing and supplementation is now available to everyone. By sheer will, Dr. Goodnow has completed the beginning and the middle of this journey, such that the plasmalogen genie cannot be put back in the bottle. This book is about bringing the reader up to speed as to where we currently are on this journey and where we're going from here. I just ordered myself a copy of that book, which is supposed to be delivered on Monday. Okay, so back. I think I can go back. Okay. All right. So then there's a review of that book from a physician, a brilliant and groundbreaking text on the science and clinical application of plasmalogens for the therapeutic amelioration of Alzheimer's disease. I have had the good fortune of observing firsthand the significant clinical benefits in my patients with neurodegenerative disorders for whom I prescribed plasmalogen therapy. So this is a doctor who's actually using this in his practice for Alzheimer's disease. That's super exciting. So let's just kind of dip in a little bit on, let me just try to get this where I want it. Plasmalogens in Alzheimer's, rebuilding the brain's defense system. What goes wrong in Alzheimer's? Severe plasmalogen deficiency, especially in the hippocampus. That's where the problem is, the short-term memory and the plaques and tangles and everything. Oh, I've got somebody else I have to tell about this right away. Okay. And it's not Alzheimer's. It's something much more mysterious. Well, Alzheimer's is mysterious, but we know a lot of, anyway, it's a mysterious case. Let's just put it that way. All right. Oh, I got to tell him about this right away. Okay. Loss of synapses and myelin, increased oxidative stress and inflammation, impaired acetylcholine signaling, which is the memory, known as the memory neurotransmitter, acetylcholine. Plasmalogens to the rescue, and I chose that little illustration there because basically you're replenishing the brain when you use plasmalogen supplementation. Replenish depleted brain lipids, stabilize synaptic membranes and myelin sheaths, neutralize oxidative stress. Don't introduce it, it's already there. Neutralize oxidative stress with their unique structure, support acetylcholine function for memory and cognition, enhance neuroplasticity and neuronal survival. So they don't just slow the decline, they support regeneration. This is huge. The latest thing I talked about with regard to that prospect or potentiality was methylene blue. Methylene blue still, but now we've got this other huge tool in the kit. And we also have, we're replenishing something that should be there that goes missing. So the Alzheimer's brain, from burnout to brightness in Alzheimer's, the brain's circuitry dims, connections fade, energy wanes. Plasmalogens act like an internal rewiring crew, reconnecting memory pathways, energizing cells, restoring communication. That's huge. This should be really exciting you because this is a breakthrough. And honestly, it's another one of those super frustrating, very frustrating things like, why isn't this being tried on your loved one who has Alzheimer's or who has any kind of a brain degenerative thing instead of Aricept, right? Or maybe alongside if they want to. But why has your doctor not heard of this? Can we boost plasmalogens naturally? Like, is there something we can eat? Is there something we can do to get ourselves to make them better? So let's the short answer is yes, but let's look into that. So the dietary sources, the chief dietary sources for making supplements are marine foods like scallops, sea squirts, certain fish, though limited, or the marine foods is where, I'm not saying they get them from those for the supplements, but that's where we tend to think of them, more marine things like we do fish oil, right? Precursors are the alkyl glycerols from shark liver oil or synthetic compounds like PP1011. Supportive nutrients, choline for phospholipid synthesis, B12 and folate, methylation for SAMe and membrane turnover. So again, you guys know me, MTHFR, methylation groups, and using bioactive forms of B12, folate, and the B vitamins and everything in order to facilitate the methylation process and be able to make glutathione. So I've talked about that many times. Antioxidants to reduce the demand on plasmalogens, right? Because if the plasmalogen, okay, So the plasmalogens are standing in your cells as first line defense. So if you have something that's producing free radicals, whether it be from the air you're breathing or the foods you're eating, the cigarettes you're smoking, the sun exposure or whatever, you've got your free radical damage. You use antioxidants, right? Vitamins A, C, E, glutathione, melatonin. You use your antioxidants. So if you have antioxidants, you're keeping your plasmalogens from having to jump in and take the free radical damage themselves and get destroyed. So that's kind of just how they interact. And then DHA, which is often incorporated into plasmalogen tails. So what are plasmalogen tails? They're talking about the structure of the molecule, if you will. And DHA being what we like really want to have for the brain development in, when you're doing supplements for yourself prenatally. Women who are pregnant or whatever, we're giving children supplements are high in DHA, like as opposed to EPA, because the DHA part of the omega-3 is the part that's really good for the brain. Okay, so just going there. So what are plasmalogen tails? I had to know. So we have there the plasmalogen head. You've got the tail 1 is the vinyl ether bond, and the tail 2 is where the DHA would be like located there. So like all phospholipids, if you look here, phosphatidyl ethanolamine. So remember palmitoyl ethanolamine. So they are related in the type of entity, scientific entity they are. They're olamines, ethanolamines, PEA, and plasmalogens. So the tails are hydrophobic, water-repelling fatty acid chains that tuck inward, forming the interior part of the membrane. So we want to nourish those. So marine foods, it was kind of interesting because I read that it was mostly marine foods is where we're getting our plasmalogens. And then I found this study that showed that quantitative and comparative investigation of plasmalogen species in daily foodstuffs, and found that there's actually a lot more in these animal foods here that like beef, pork, lamb, chicken, tuna, then sea bream, salmon, flaps. So you're like, wait a minute, like why aren't we using these? And it has to do with their uptake. So some sort of biochemical uptake pathway. So we can't just say, hey, I'm going to increase my, I'm going to eat more pork and lamb and chicken, and I'm going to up my plasmalogen content. Right. So yeah, follow me. I go into that a little bit more. So anyway, the main takeaways from there, the top plasmalogen-rich foods, beef, lamb, and chicken show the highest concentrations. These meats had over 800 nanograms, nanogram molecules, I think that is, per gram, with beef leading the chart. Lower levels in many seafoods. Most fish and shellfish contained significantly lower. Squid and octopus were higher among seafoods, but still had lower than beef or lamb. Why food isn't enough. While a whole food diet rich in healthy fats and nutrients supports plasmalogen maintenance. So, another good reason why, your vegan, your popular plant-based diets exclusively are not a good idea, going back to sort of the Weston A. Price traditional diets model, which is the healthy diet that I subscribe to. Therapeutic replenishment requires targeted supplementation with plasmalogen precursors or specialized formulations. Number one, there's a limited quantity in the diet. Even the richest natural sources contain microgram to low milligram amounts per serving. Helpful for maintenance, helpful for keeping a healthy body healthy, but not enough to correct deficiencies. Fragility during cooking and digestion. Then further, when you are cooking them, the plasmalogens are delicate molecules, easily damaged by heat and oxidation. Cooking and digestive processes can significantly reduce their bioavailability. Plasmalogens are delicate molecules, easily damaged by heat. And it looks like I just repeated that same exact sentence. So maybe it bears repeating. So there you've got a couple of plasmalogen-rich foods, but how much can you count on really getting the plasmalogens from them by the time you eat them? So the therapeutic needs far exceed dietary capacity. Most therapeutic protocols rely on direct precursors like alkyl glycerols or synthetic plasmalogen mimetics at targeted dosages to bypass impaired biosynthesis or accelerate replenishment, something food simply cannot match. So food alone is not adequate to therapeutically address plasmalogens, especially increased plasmalogens, especially when trying to restore or optimize levels in the context of aging, neurodegenerative disease, cardiovascular disease, chronic inflammation, mitochondrial dysfunction, plasmalogen deficiency as confirmed by testing. And now this gets into why the marine ones are more effective than, say, the meat ones. Omega-3 rich tails, marine-derived plasmalogens often contain long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFAs like DHA, highly anti-inflammatory and crucial for brain and retinal function. So very great for the eyes. Membrane fluidity and neuroprotection, DHA-enriched plasmalogens help maintain membrane flexibility and neuroplasticity. We were talking about that, which are essential in aging and neurodegeneration. They're more similar to the human brain lipids. Human brain plasmalogens are particularly rich in PLSETN with a DHA or other omega-3s, making marine sources more brain mimetic. So, okay. So plasmalogens and us, taking a closer look. Aging. As we get older, plasmalogen levels decline significantly, particularly in tissues like the brain, again, the heart, the lungs. And there aren't these things that we just see really affecting the chronic diseases, cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative diseases, and respiratory health. A lot of COPD, think COPD, things like that. This reduction affects membrane integrity, cell signaling, and antioxidant defense. Increasing plasmalogen levels may help slow some of the cellular wear and tear associated with aging, supporting sharper thinking, stronger immunity, and more youthful energy at the cellular level. Again, low plasmalogen levels are a consistent finding in Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other neurodegenerative disorders. Plasmalogens protect neurons from oxidative damage, support the function of synapses, again, that cell-to-cell communication, and help maintain healthy myelin sheaths. Replenishing them may slow progression, improve cognitive clarity, and support memory, mood, and focus in aging or at-risk brains. I think this is like so huge. Cardiovascular disease, just take a little vignette, a little glimpse into these briefly. Play a critical role in maintaining healthy blood vessels and heart tissue. They reduce oxidative stress, support cholesterol transport, and promote smooth, flexible membranes, all key in preventing plaque buildup and maintaining circulation. Boosting plasmalogen levels may support overall cardiovascular health and resilience, especially in those with existing risk factors. I think it's huge. If you can keep your epithelium, your arterial epithelium nice and supple and smooth, you don't have damaged places that need plaque to plug them up like a scab and then lead to blocking of the vessels. Damage and yeah, wonderful. Chronic inflammation. Because plasmalogens help modulate immune responses and scavenge reactive oxygen species, again, the free radical damage, low levels can contribute to ongoing low-grade inflammation, which we know is central to all degenerative disease processes. Chronic inflammation. Replenishing plasmalogens may help calm chronic inflammatory conditions by restoring a natural antioxidant buffer and encouraging healthier immune cell signaling. So you're looking at basically everything there when it comes to chronic degenerative diseases that we see running rampant in our population today. And there we go, just plain old mitochondrial dysfunction in general. Mitochondria, your cell's energy factories, rely on healthy membranes to function properly, and plasmalogens are key components of the membranes. When plasmalogens are low, mitochondrial energy performance suffers, leading to fatigue, sluggish metabolism. Restoring plasmalogen levels can stabilize mitochondria, enhance your ATP production, and improve cellular energy output. So enhancing mitochondrial energy is foundational to anti-aging across the board, which is why I call myself the mitochondriac. Super important. All right, so what you can do is you can now, since I started this program, putting it together last Sunday evening, I've been in touch with this company, and I actually do have a practitioner's account with them, but I'm not carrying their products. If you want to buy them, at least I'm not now. If you want to purchase them, I have links to the website and to their products. We're going to run through them. But you can also get a blood test to see where your what your plasmalogen levels are to begin with, which I think that's really cool. And I don't know if you need a practitioner to order that, but if you do, I can do that for you now. But anyway, let's take a look at that. The prodrome scan is right now it's on sale. That might actually be because of my discount. That's probably why, because that's taking me to my site. It normally goes for $4.99. So if you were just to go to that site yourself, if you click on that on your computer, it's not going to take you to mine. And you'll probably see the $4.99 price. But anyway, that's not really the point. The point is, yeah, you should be able to just order that yourself. And it'll tell you how to do that. But what's included? The blood draw tube, the shipping vial, all return packaging and materials, home blood draw information. When your kit arrives in the mail, you can call to schedule a blood draw using our phlebotomy provider in your home. Okay. The phlebotomist will perform the blood draw and take care of the shipping for you. You can schedule a home blood draw with our third-party provider if you do that, or blah, 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 blah. Prodrome scan biomarkers. So it looks for these different sufficiencies. It's pretty cool. And then biosystem function. Wow. Wow. That's pretty interesting. You might be interested in doing something like that, depending on what's going on in your life, your health. Very cool. Okay, and then will plasmalogen supplements exist? Yes. Okay, so again, the comparison between like taking a standard DHA supplement versus a plasmalogen supplement. Free DHA, usually triglyceride or ethyl ester, ethyl ester, DHA embedded in plasmalogen structure. So the standard DHA requires breakdown and reassembly in the liver, delivers directly in membrane ready form, target delivery, low brain uptake, less than 1% makes it into neurons, efficient brain uptake with plasmalogens crossing the blood-brain barrier. Function, antioxidant and structural, but passive. And the plasmalogens actively replace depleted neuronal lipids. Stability, susceptible to oxidation, but the built-in antioxidant properties of the plasmalogens via that vinyl ether bond. So think of standard DHA like raw material. Plasmalogens are the finished product your brain is desperately missing. So much more effective. So you can kind of say giving someone standard DHA, not DHEA, don't confuse those, right? I talk about DHEA all the time. That's dehydroepiandrosterone, which is an adrenal hormone. That's totally different than DHA. So DHA, you're taking your fish liver oil supplement, high in DHA maybe, is like dropping off lumber and nails and hoping a house gets built. Giving plasmalogens is like delivering a prefab, brain-ready repair crew, fully equipped and ready to restore structure, function, and firepower. So they started studying this. This is just background. The PP1011 pharmaceutical grade precursor. There's this dreadful condition, genetic condition called rhizomelic chondrodysplasia punctata, which is really very sad. People can be born with that as a pediatric disorder. So they found out, and they're using and studying this for really helping with that at very high concentrated levels. And if you're interested in that, you can actually, you can dig in a little bit. I'm not going to spend a lot of, clinical development evaluation of PPI 1011 as a treatment for this problem. So again, you can see how important this can be. This would be really fantastic as a treatment for something that devastating. I wonder too about, that's just, so what is it? It's a synthetic plasmalogen precursor developed by this company. Okay. It's not OTC, so you can't get that yet. This company that I just went to, you can click on there when I have the PDF up, and you can go right there, but you can just see it's prodrome.com is the name of the website, Prodrome. Just Google Prodrome or Plasmalogens, and you'll find this website. And when you go through my PDF, you'll be able to click on these and get to those products, but I'm just going to talk about them here. So they have several, and I've got them all highlighted here. Prodromeglia soft gels, brain and nerve support, helps bring calm and focus to the body and mind. Discover the power of advanced neurological support with Prodromeglia, a revolutionary supplement scientifically designed by Dr. Diane Goodnow, built on over 2 decades of his research. So this one, helping restore cellular function critical areas such as brain white matter, myelin, and heart membranes. So there's that one. And then there's the oil, which is similar. You can do it in oil drops instead of as soft gels. Then they have the neuro one that is especially for maintaining the brain and all of that. So if you're going more for that, the first one would be more probably for your cardiovascular, although I'm sure there's a lot of crossover there, and that comes as an oil as well. And then this one is like super concentrated, and it comes from a plasmalogen enriched egg yolk oil, which is very interesting because egg yolk is also a rich source of palmitoylethanolamide. So again, it makes sense. Those ethanolamines, the lipid mediators that are so vital to health. So this is kind of like the real high test. A 1 month supply is like $500, $499. But if you were doing something that was really needing super repair, it's probably a good way to go, at least as a loading program for a month, and then maybe coming down to some of the other ones. So what was really cool was I was studying this, and I had just met on Friday, the Friday before, so last weekend, I had met with a woman with a very complex situation. And as I started learning about this on Sunday night and started working up her information and what I recommended, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a perfect situation where this would be wonderful. So at least it should. So here she is. She's that's not actually her, although I chose that picture because I met her on Zoom, and actually her face does kind of remind me of this woman. So anyway, she's 28 years old. She has a 5-year-old. She's 12 weeks pregnant. Well, at the time we met. and with her second child, but she has a very complex health history, which I won't go through the whole thing, but some of the things that are involved here are visual snow. If you don't know anything about that, that's when people like the old TVs, the black and whites where the snow was on them all the time, just constantly seeing that, or, anyway, it's very, very disturbing. Migratory nerve pain, paresthesia, so numbness, tingling, chest pain, heart palpitations, PVCs, muscle fatigue and pain, insomnia, anxiety, jaw and back pain. POTS, diagnosed with POTS prior to being pregnant with her first child, although a lot of this all crashed in postpartum after the birth of her first child. That POTS is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. With a history of chronic Lyme and mold toxicity. This is really complex picture. And she was actually referred to me by a physician down in Connecticut, who I know personally. So anyway, that's how we came to know each other. So why plasmalogens might be an excellent fit for this person. There are crucial phospholipids involved in mitochondrial function, in energy metabolism, especially important in POTS, fatigue, muscle weakness, and neurological dysfunction. Neuroprotection and membrane stability, supporting conditions like visual snow, neuropathic pain, anxiety, which was also in that picture. Synaptic transmission and neuroplasticity, relevant for mood disorders, cognitive complaints, and neuro repair. Anti-inflammatory and antioxidant activity, beneficial for post-infectious syndromes such as Lyme and mold recovery. Myelination, supporting nerve insulation, which is relevant for paresthesias, numbness, tingling, migrating nerve pain, and neurological hypersensitivity. Hormonal and cardiovascular balance, especially during pregnancy when endocrine and cardiac demand increases. Cell membrane fluidity and function across every organ system impacted in her case. I'm just really excited, but then I'm like, wow, I mean, these plasmalogen supplementation during pregnancy alone, for the baby should be like crazy. Okay, we also discussed that plasmalogen deficiency is a central feature in many chronic multisystemic illnesses. In someone with mitochondrial strain, systemic inflammation, neuroimmune dysfunction, and cardiovascular symptoms, all intensified by pregnancy, this makes plasmalogens a powerfully foundational intervention. But then I'm like, plasmalogens and the developing baby, right? So brain and nervous system development. Plasmalogens are major components of fetal brain tissue, especially in myelin and neuronal membranes. They support synaptic formation, neuronal signaling, and neuroplasticity, critical during rapid brain growth in utero. Deficiency may contribute to abnormal neurodevelopment or increase vulnerability to future neurodevelopmental disorders. I'm just saying, you just want a baby born with like a really healthy brain. Vision and sensory system formation are abundant. Plasmalogens are abundant in the retina and optic nerve, playing a role in visual system development and retinal protection from oxidative stress. Cardiac and muscular development, plasmalogens are highly concentrated in heart and skeletal muscle, supporting structural integrity and mitochondrial energy metabolism needed for tissue formation. Again, antioxidant protection in the womb, very important. And a lot of times, women do things that are who don't pay attention to prenatal nutrition, and what they're doing as they're pregnant can really compromise healthy fetal growth and development. And what do I want to say? Building a really strong constitution in the child. So the plasmalogens help quench free radicals, especially reactive oxygen species, which are naturally high in the growing fetus due to intense metabolic activity. This antioxidant capacity protects fetal tissues from oxidative damage and supports healthy placental function. And then epigenetic and metabolic programming. Again, epigenetics, and again, what you surround your developing child with in the womb via nutrients. I call it epigenetics from the womb. changes and turns off genetic things that might be problems for them. Such as, using folate and proper forms of folate and B12 when you're pregnant for a child who's going to be born with MTHF, with folate metabolism error defects, as just an example. So helping offset those things and overcome them. So that's epigenetics. Epigenetics in the womb. What are epigenetics? Basically, your genes are not determinant. The environment you put them in modulates them and can make a world of difference. All right, now getting to Dr. Kathy. Why plasmalogens matter after a stroke. Stroke equals oxidative stress plus inflammation plus cellular damage. Plasmalogens to the rescue. Potent antioxidants. They are vinyl ether bonds, scavenges free radicals, protecting neurons from oxidative damage. Anti-inflammatory effects, reducing neuroinflammation and dampening overactive immune response in the brain. Membrane repair and fluidity, rebuilding and stabilizing damaged cell membranes, especially in the brain. And I think that's like, it would have been really fantastic to get these to Kathy like immediately following the stroke. But now I think there's so much that can be added here to Kathy, to your recovery. Rebuilding and stabilizing damaged cell membranes, especially in the brain. And I know that Kathy's talked about this, so I'm not telling tales out of school, but she is out in, oh gosh, why can't I think of the name of the hospital, Kathy? Come on, you're out there right now staying, because you just had the vagus nerve stimulator implanted into your chest to really help you with your stroke recovery. And that is really, really wonderful. I know you're in a lot of pain from that surgery, but hopefully that will ease up soon. But let's just get the plasmalogens going at the same time. I'm so excited to talk with you about that. Anyway, mitochondrial support, restoring energy production where the brain needs it the most. Neurogenesis and synaptic repair, supporting formation of new neural connections and plasticity. I think it could be a huge aid. So real potential here for stroke recovery. This is actually a photo of a woman in like physical therapy for doing motor things there. You can see post-stroke goals: reduce further damage, restore function, prevent recurrence. So that's plasmalogens have shown promise in enhancing the white matter integrity, supporting vascular health and circulation, promoting neuroplasticity in key brain areas, and may help with post-stroke fatigue, mood changes, and cognitive fog. Foundational lipid therapy for brain regeneration. I just wish I'd known about this sooner. Ooh, so much. So anyway, like a phoenix rising for the brain. After a stroke, the brain can feel like a scorched landscape, damaged neurons, disrupted communication, depleted energy. Plasmalogens are like the phoenix rising from the ashes, rebuilding, restoring, and reigniting the brain's inner fire. Antioxidant power, membrane renewal, mitochondrial ignition, neuroplasticity. So Kathy, from damage to dynamic, from injury to ignition. So I'm just super excited. We got to get you on those. Okay. What about plasmalogens and MS? Because I have a couple of people with MS. And then you're talking about the myelination. So of course, what happens in MS, you've got demyelination. The immune system attacks the protective sheath around the nerves. You have neuroinflammation, chronic damaging inflammation in the brain and spinal cord. Then you have mitochondrial dysfunction, energy-starved neurons, and oxidative stress, further injury to already vulnerable tissues. Another add-on. Plasmalogens, rebuilding the myelin, rich in myelin, and help restore its structure, cooling down inflammation, fueling the mitochondria, protecting from oxidative damage, support remyelination and repair, and foundational lipid for healing, not just coping. This really kicks up my protocol for MS, which I've never talked about before, and I should do that coming up soon. So in summary, just why plasmalogens matter for all of us. Plasmalogens are the unsung stewards of health. They defend, direct, and fine-tune nearly every major system in the body. They aren't just passengers on the aging train. They're part of the brakes, the engine, and the shock absorbers. From neurons to hormones, mitochondria to immunity, and from birth to old age, or pre-birth, preconception to old age, these humble lipids whisper stability where there could be chaos. So whether you're nurturing a developing brain, navigating chronic illness, or simply striving to age well, plasmalogens deserve a seat at the table. Bottom line, don't wait until they're gone to realize how much they were doing. So cool. Yeah, so some of you out there, oh yes, please send. Okay, we'll talk about it because I can get them ordered for you and get sent out to you. Kathy, you and I will talk about which one you should use. I think you should use the high test oil at least for a month immediately. But we'll talk about it. And that's actually what my woman at the case study that I went through, who's pregnant, that woman, she's going to actually do that for a month to get that loaded into her system and then step down. So I think that is absolutely, I think this is a huge tool. This is like learning about glutathione for the first time and learning about something as critical as methylene blue, but plasmalogens actually, like glutathione and melatonin, they rank right up there with me, even higher than something like methylene blue or indium, just because they are things that exist in our bodies that we make ourselves. And what happens, like mitochondrial energy, they go missing. They decline in number. We have less of them. And guess what? As part of our anti-aging program and our overall health program, we can, oh yeah, Kathy's at the Mayo Clinic. By the way, I don't know why that didn't come to my mind. I need plasmalogens, but anyway, wow, another huge tool in the kit, and especially for those of you with relatives or friends who have whatever, or maybe a struggling child, somebody maybe with autism or something like that. This would be something to look into. I think the impact could be of great significance based on what I've learned here. And as you can see. So anyway, we are up. Time is up. I'm going to, of course, get this up on my YouTube channel, my website, my Rumble channel. I'll be sending out a informational email with links to direct links to products and things like that so that you can go find them easily without actually delving straight into the all the way into the PDF, although you will certainly be able to do that as well. So thank you, everybody. I'm excited. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It's beautiful, beautiful summer day here in Keene, New Hampshire. And be back next week. Not sure exactly what I'm going to talk about. Might do another little side detour before I get into the 5 senses series. I think I will do one more detour. And I think I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, because I might change my mind. Okay. So thanks for being with me, everybody, and be well. We'll see you next time.